Okay, these are the words from today. Again, big day. We had Air France 447, Qantas 32, British Midlands. These are some of the words that came up. Chaos, bedlam, disorder. So you can say that a guy was flying. He had to divert to Russia, and a lot of flights had to go there because a passenger had a heart attack, and the place was chaos. Pandemonium. It's a mess. Bedlam would be too formal. Right? The place was a madhouse. You could say this. This is probably the best one to say. Chaos. Today we heard a story about amazing and brilliant that Americans often say amazing. It was so amazing. But again, I had some Irish roommates that would say, "Oh, that movie was brilliant," or that they meant remarkable, because in American English, brilliant usually means smart. Like Einstein was brilliant. But like the Transformers, oh, that movie was brilliant. No, it wasn't. It was remarkable is another one too. Jail is for a longer time. Jail is for a short time, like a weekend or 3 months. Prison is usually for a long time. It's bigger. Right? Another name for prison is the big house. Detention center or holding area is used for maybe airports or immigrants. Subtle clues, subtle eye movements. Again, in the video today, we heard Sully Sullenberger says that it's that one small little move, that one subtle little move when you're pulling back on the stick. Eye movements, you can, if somebody likes you or doesn't like you, you can kind of watch their eyes if they're telling you the truth. I told a story that I had a friend, my friend went to prison, and my friend said, "You have never wavered in your support." Now, Mr. Gong asked another question about waiver, W-A-I-V-E-R. I received a medical waiver. That's a noun, but don't use it as a verb. Why didn't you do your military service? Oh, I received a medical waiver. Why are you going home early? Oh, I got a waiver. Advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons. Today we talked about the pros and cons of the Air France, of the Boeing versus Airbus. Which would you choose? Would you like to fly with the stick or the yoke? Well, I'd opt for, I'd choose. We also heard about a movie today, The Perfect Storm. It's a movie from the year 2000 with George Clooney. And all those guys on the fishing boat die because, I think the radio might have stopped working. They had problems with the radio. And they were getting greedy. They wanted more fish. Their ice machine broke. The Coast Guard didn't do a good job. It was a perfect storm. Theoretically, Sully Sullenberger says this in the thing. Like he says, well, theoretically, it was still possible to recover the aircraft at that time. This is a word often I use. Jim's using it. I use it. And a lot of Koreans are like, what? We use this quite a bit. Theoretically. I'm just saying that. I'm just throwing that out there, just giving ideas when you're not serious. Hey, next month let's go to Paris. Really? Nah, I'm just throwing that out there. It's not a joke, but if you want to go, let's go. Old is strong. You are old. Rude. Older, a little bit more polite. Why? Because everybody's older than somebody else. We also watched one called Give Me Your ID Please, where people argue. The controller and the pilot kind of argue. They get into it. They fight. Throw to is direct. Throw to is like, hey, you want this? Catch. Throw at, maybe you're angry. Yell to, hey, you guys want some donuts? You hungry? Yell at, what are you doing? I told you don't do this. Work at the Chicago facility. I worked at the Chicago facility for many years. Quicker, faster. In Chicago. I live in Chicago, inside. I work for Samsung versus I work at Samsung. Come off means look like. Oh, actually in the video we watched, a piece of luggage comes off one of the carts, I think. Fall off would be quicker. A button on your jacket is slowly coming off. Flames are coming out of the engine. Flames are coming off of the engine. And again, I had a picture of a football player. You'll see him here in a little bit. He takes off his helmet in the autumn, and you can see that the flames are coming, or the steam is coming off his head. Out the engine, the fire is inside the engine. Coming off of an engine is on top of. Today, I think Mr. Choi, Hong-kyun, he explained beef up, like a guy is skinny, and then he works out a lot, he beefs up. Oh, are you working on your English? Yeah, I'm beefing up on my English. Listen, catch, hear. Remember, listens for a longer time. I'm listening to you. Hear is for the sound. Did you hear that? Catch. Catch is like, I like this because it doesn't sound so rude. Like if you're in the interview and we say, well, did you catch all that? Not, did you understand? See is quicker. Watch. Watch is longer. See a movie. Usually Americans, we go to the theater, but stay home and watch a movie. Now, I had a British teacher tell me, no, it's always watch, it's not see. Why do Americans say that? Rift is kind of a problem between two groups. Sometimes between two groups, there's kind of rift. There was in the past a rift between the, the Jeollado people and the Gyeongsan people, I think. But it wasn't really a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's nothing. Thick skin. When you have thick skin, you can be insulted and it's no worries. Flames coming off the engine. I think here's the picture. Yeah, look, this guy takes off his helmet. It's got steam coming off his head. Come off also means look like. I say, hey, how was the presentation? Well, you came off as kind of angry. You came off as kind of arrogant. Right? I think this is Mr. Chui's story. He was flying, and his instruments weren't working very well. They weren't very good. They were lacking in precision. They were not accurate. And so he looked around for a visual reference because he was flying in poor weather conditions. But he was experiencing spatial disorientation. After a little while, the effects wore off, or he didn't feel that he was experiencing that until the effects wore off, right? I kind of felt that I was out of the danger, out of it. I snapped out of it. I woke up. It's kind of a scary story. Burn up would be for like money or maybe a building. Oh no, sorry, for paper. Burn down is more of a building. Jack up the prices. I went to Walmart and there were donuts for $10. A dozen donuts. And then I went back the next day, there were Iman wine. They jacked up the prices. Carjack is this thing. And a carjacking is what can happen to you in Los Angeles. We also want to talk about the story of Pavlov's dogs. Pavlov was a Russian scientist. Every day he gave food to dogs. When he fed the dogs, when he gave the dogs food, he rang a bell. Ding-a-ling-ling, and the dogs would salivate. They would have saliva in their mouth. Eventually, he stopped giving them food and just rang the bell. And their mouths would still salivate. You can use this for delicious food. My mouth is watering. Oh, it looks so delicious. Saliva. Spit is the other one, to spit in something. Right? I have spit. But we use that, like I say, have you seen this picture? I don't think I've seen that picture. That picture doesn't ring a bell. I haven't seen it. Do you know that name? No, that name doesn't ring a bell.